Hello, welcome to the quick take after Fulham's defeat yesterday to Huddersfield Town. Hope you're good. Hope you had a good weekend despite yesterday's results. Not what we were looking for. Brought Fulham's 7-match unbeaten run to an end. And we said it was going to be a difficult match yesterday against the Huddersfield Town team that hadn't lost in 12 league games, had a couple of cup games in there as well. They're now up to 13 undefeated. And yeah, a very impressive Huddersfield Town side that came to Craven Cottage and did a job. But Fulham as well, masters of their own downfall in lots of ways yesterday. We're also definitely going to criticize the referee in parts today as well. Put your comments in the chat and I'll try and read some of them out as the stream goes on. But I'll have a look back at the match then. And it was just one change yesterday, a bit of an interesting one. Cabano dropped to the bench. First time we've seen that in a while. Cabano's been pretty much first name on the team sheet for Silver this season. But in came Bobby Decordova-Reid. Didn't hate that. I wondered if it was a bit of a defensive move. We knew that Sorba Thomas on their right-hand side was going to be one of their key players. And we know that Decordova-Reid has a good defensive side to his game as well. So I wonder if that was a bit of tactics from Marco maybe to try and nullify Sorba Thomas. It didn't really work in the end, did it? But it was, I don't know. I didn't feel massively easy about dropping Cabano. Didn't see why we had to if it wasn't injury related. There is 3 games in a week. Cabano seems to be struggling to do 90 minutes, and maybe Silva just wanted to tinker with it. On this occasion, though, didn't really work, did it? And I thought Fulham started well. I thought that Fulham, it was obvious that Huddersfield were going to be a much sterner test than we're used to in recent weeks, but we could have easily found ourselves 1-0 up. There were lots of times where the ball just didn't drop for us. Obviously, there was the key chance that Fulham had in the first half where Fabio Carvalho races into the box on the left-hand side. Really nice movement, squares it to Mitrovic, and most times this season that's found Mitrovic's feet, and it's ended up 1-0 to Fulham. And we know that when Fulham go 1-0 up, particularly at home, we tend to be pretty strong. We tend to hold on, and I think this is a Huddersfield team that would have folded if Fulham have gone 1-0 up, if I'm being totally honest. But the longer the game went on, it smelt of trouble yesterday, and I wasn't too surprised the goal came when it did. It was a really frustrating one from a Fulham point of view. They managed to break that free down the right-hand side, squared it back. And I thought the danger had gone. The ball kind of pinged to Harry Wilson, who loses it in a bad area for me. And they get the cross in. And then I don't know what Tom Kearney's trying to do there. It's a bad touch. It falls straight to Danny Ward. I just think there's multiple players that you can blame in that scenario. Yes, Kearney seemed to get the brunt of it, but I thought all in all, it was pretty poor. Harry Wilson, for me, needs to do a little bit better not to lose it where he did. Goes through Rodak's legs again, not brilliant. It was just a really frustrating one, but it was a good striker's finish from Danny Ward, and Huddersfield 1-0 up again, not end of the world. Which brings me on to the penalty, which happened to me in remarkably similar circumstances. The fact that Chalobah miscontrols the ball almost exactly on the same point where Kearney does, it then comes to Sorba Thomas, and the penalty for me is a really... I'm genuinely in two minds over it. Do I think it's a penalty? No. Is that my own bias coming into it? Possibly a little bit. What I can't see is what Rodak could have done differently in that situation. He kind of stands his ground, and I think Sorba Thomas runs into him. He does get to the ball first, and he gives the referee a decision to make Rodak from where he is. However, I think if you look back at it and analyze it, I'm not sure what Rodak could have done. However, when I was watching it in live time, I remember thinking, oh, that's messy. That could be a penalty. And without VAR to overrule something like that, I don't think VAR would have overruled that either. I don't think it's like clear and obvious that's a mess up. And so for me, I'm not here going to say that it's the worst penalty decision I've ever seen, because I don't think it is. I think it's bad. I don't think it was a penalty, but I can see objectively the next morning after why it's given, but I don't think it was overall. And Holmes smashes away the penalty, the most unconvincing penalty. I wish Rodak had just not dived, considering that Huddersfield had missed their last five. I think Rodak could have just been forgiven for just not necessarily preempting it and sticking down the middle. I'm not going to blame Rodak for not saving a penalty. That's an absolute ridiculous thing to say. And look, 2-0 down against a side that seems fairly solid defensively was a pretty bad position to find ourselves in. And second half, it was just one of those where Fulham tried millions of crosses. There were lots of kind of half-hearted penalty appeals. The ball just wasn't falling for us. The one where Nico Williams does brilliantly to get into the box, and it is in front of, no, it's behind Alexander Mitrovic, who then gets a toe on it, which then takes out the path of Niskin Skabano, is maybe one of the most frustrating moments I've ever had watching a football game. It just felt like Fulham weren't going to score all day. And then somehow we did, through probably not a great bit of attacking brilliance. Nico Williams trying to shoot from about 40 yards out and kind of catching it, slicing it, falls straight to Decordova-Reid. 1-2 touch, got it out of his feet. Brilliant finish to the far corner from Decordova-Reid. That's with the quality that we know he's got. He got Fulham back into the game. And really, I think the best chance was probably for us to get a penalty. And this is the one that annoys me more than the one that wasn't given, is the lack of a handball penalty at the end from Tosin's header. It hits the Huddersfield player on the hand. His hand is out here. Yes, it brushes it. It's not a massive contact, but I think it was pretty clear from all sides of the ground. Marco Silva was adamant that he could see it from the technical area. I know he would say that, but I think that between the referee and the assistant referee, there is no way that shouldn't be given as a penalty. It's in an unnatural position. And look, that would have been a great result for us to get a draw out of that. And I think we deserve to, given our second half performance, I think, nick a point. You know, I think Huddersfield hung on. And yes, they did well to get themselves ahead. Yes, they're an impressive team and good luck to them. They look definitely good for the playoffs. And if Bournemouth slip up, I wouldn't put it past Huddersfield getting top two. They were that good yesterday. But I think a draw, in my opinion, as a Fulham fan, was the fair result. And I think it's really disappointing that that penalty doesn't get given. And I think that Glenn Murray summed it up best on Sky Sports after the match, where he said, if you're going to give that first half penalty, you have to give the second half penalty. That's the point. I think I could forgive a referee for not giving either. But if you're going to give one that's pretty soft, I think you have to give the other. And that's where my frustration from yesterday comes from. I know there were some other penalty shouts, but in my opinion, I don't think any of them are worth really reflecting on. And Marco Silva was annoyed by a challenge on Mitrovic, which in my opinion was a completely clean tackle. He got a yellow card after it as well. But that's my take on the penalties. You give one, you have to give the other. A few other little bits from the match. I thought that a couple of the performances out there were a little bit disappointing. Anthony Robinson seems to get a lot of flack on Twitter. He does this, doesn't he? He seems to not be able to make quite simple passes, but I can see what he brings to the game. I feel like we've debated Anthony Robinson all season. I didn't think it was his worst performance of the season, which maybe a lot of people are saying that says a lot. But the one for me I thought was disappointing yesterday was Nathaniel Chalobah. I thought he'd been brilliant in the last couple of games. I thought he was fantastic against Millwall. I thought he was good against Hull. I thought he was the perfect battler we needed in the middle. But yesterday, I thought some of his passing was a bit off. I felt like he didn't really help the team and drive them forward. I thought that some of the decision making, and I think that this for me is where we needed a bit of rotation yesterday. You've got Reid on the bench. You've got Seri on the bench. I thought yesterday's game was made for Seri. I thought he really could have made a big impact yesterday. We needed someone with some pinpoint accuracy to get it through the lines. And I think Seri could have been that man for us yesterday. So it was disappointing, really, Chalobah's performance. I feel like there may be some rotation against Peterborough on Wednesday. I think that Marco might change up that midfield now and just give one of Reid and Seri a chance to make their mark against Peterborough. One brilliant performance for me was Nico Williams. He was sensational yesterday. I thought he was the best player on the pitch for us. I thought he was so dangerous. Some of his work down the right-hand side was fantastic. What an addition he's been. I've said it last week that he was great against Hull. I thought he was even better yesterday against Huddersfield. Tete's got a real fight to get back in the team because I thought, going forward, he was great. I thought defensively as well that he got a couple of challenges bob on as well. There was one in the second half, I believe, where, again, it was just an inch perfect tackle that if he gets wrong, Fulham are in serious trouble. And yeah, well played, Nico Williams. I thought that, and three assists in three. I think this one was the least deliberate assist of the three, but still, that's a fantastic record for Nico. He really adds something to this team. A little bit of a gem at right back for sure. And another player I just wanted to single out as a good performance, Ivan Cavallero. I thought he came off the bench and I thought he was really strong. I thought he looked good. I thought he looked sharp. And Cav has got a lot of flack from Fulham fans. I think he bore the brunt of the Parker frustration from last season because he played up front. And I think by the end of last season, his confidence had just gone. Fully gone. And yesterday, I think he showed what quality he had. Every time he got on the ball, he looked like he was going to do something dangerous with it. I really could actually see him making a difference between now and the end of the season. We've been needing that kind of left-wing option for when Neeskens tires late on. And I don't see what's wrong with Cavallero coming on the wing. Not up front, but at left wing. I think he's got quality. And at this level, he can cause defenders a nightmare, particularly if he's coming on against tired legs. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Ivan Cavallero because I thought he was very, very good. And look, with regards to the league table, kind of as you were, QPR dropped points, which was handy. Bournemouth and Blackburn both had their games postponed because of the weather. So difficult to really make an assessment of it. But given Fulham's position at the top of the table, the comfortable lead that we had, these results happen. I think if we make this a big habit and then we drop points against Peterborough and Cardiff, then I might press the semi-panic button. But after a defeat to a good side in the top six yesterday, I'm really, really not worried. Ibrahim Ahmed, I think, echoing that as well. So it's not the end of the world, Sammy, but huge eye-opener who will struggle in the league above. Rodak-Ream situation needs sorting ASAP. Yeah, the Rodak one for me is particularly interesting here. I think Ream's clear cut. I think we've known all season that Fulham are going to sign a new centre-back if we go up to the Premier League next year. But Rodak, I thought, asked me a few months ago, I'd have said 100% deserves his chance in the Premier League. Now I'm on the fence if we did sign a good keeper, an Areola equivalent, I think I'd understand why. I put it that way. Do I think that Rodak deserves a chance? Yes. But I would understand the club's rationale if we thought that we needed someone stronger because he had a good game a couple of weeks ago against Millwall where I think he proved a few doubters wrong. Obviously, kept a clean sheet against Hull. Can't complain against that. But yeah, yesterday, a couple of the moments. But I just think that when you're at the top of the league, you're going to not have many shots. So when you let one in, it's always going to be noted, isn't it? A few other comments here. Not sure what Chalobah offers over any other midfielder from Tom Fulsham. I would agree on that on yesterday's performance, but I thought against Millwall and Hull, he was good. So I feel like we're being a bit quick to completely write him off, in my opinion. But I would like to see a few other midfielders get a chance. I think that Reed and Seri now have sat it out long enough, and particularly Seri, I'd like to see him come back and make an impact into this team and try and get to the form that he had at the beginning of the season. Said, looking at City's penalty awarded yesterday, we would have definitely got a result with VAR. Yeah, 100% agreed. You see that handball that Romero conceded against City yesterday, not massively clear-cut in real time, but 100% with VAR. The penalty that doesn't get given to us in the final minute from Tosin and the handball, definitely. So I can agree with this, Christian. I don't know if VAR overturns the first penalty, as I mentioned, but definitely I think that it would 100% have meant that we got a draw yesterday. And Daniel, don't think there's any need to panic here. Awful weather, a well-drilled defence, didn't quite have the luck. Going to happen every now and then. My sentiments entirely. Couldn't have summed it up better myself, Dan. I think that really it's just one to chalk down as a bad day. I think Peterborough is the perfect game. Hopefully, don't clip this up later and get wrong, but I think that it's the perfect game for me for Fulham to get back to winning ways. We know that they haven't been very good this season, particularly defensively. It's an ideal opportunity for Fulham to go back, get 3 points, and make sure that this doesn't become a slump, that this is just a one-off, bad result against a good team. Fulham can still assert their dominance at the top of the league. Anyway, thanks for watching today. Hope you enjoyed another quick take. There should be a podcast with Coops coming out later today as well for more reaction from yesterday's game. And fingers crossed, we can go again against Peterborough and correct today's score. See you later. Come on, your ways.